Give you a quick insight into our business. We create a package for, we have 10 partner clients, and for another business to become a client, they have to join a wait list and one has to leave. And generally they don't leave for any other reason other than being bought out by a larger competitor, which is usually a good outcome for our client. But what that means though is that every year when we go to design the package that we're going to that's going to suit our client, they need to know what they're buying over that next year. So we have to do a forward scan of what technology is going where, and every year our product is changing because the technology is changing, or where we should be prioritising our time is changing. So in regards to how technology will impact the amount of work that is done in our office, it's continually a redistribution of time. So we won't ever replace people. We can't, because we need more and more people. All of our clients, so we're just renegotiating our, with one client for the next July start for them next year. This will be going into their 5th year with us. They started with us of having 14 hours a month of support, and now they're looking at 80 hours a month of support. So over 5 years, you can imagine that they've actually needed more and more time because the investment, they've actually seen a shift from other forms of media into this and understanding that it's working. Now, what we do is we then look for opportunities to be able to make time more effective. Now, company name is Effective Naturally, so everything is meant to be focused around how we put the right systems into place so that things are effective in a natural form rather than having to push all the time. One of the biggest changes for us will be machine learning and artificial intelligence. And we're looking at how that will be able to impact our ability to respond faster, because we don't actually respond. The computers will be responding on our behalf for a certain range of things. Obviously, it's all around the personal connection with our clients' audiences. And we love that personal connection, and it's actually something I get quite a buzz from, so I don't want to remove it altogether, because otherwise you also lose the ability for analytics and understanding trends, but it will understand the trends probably before I see them, and that is my skill set. So the way in which that could manifest, for example, is, say, for the airport, when someone needs to know if that flight's landed, they'll just ask Facebook how far away it is, and they could ask it through Siri if on their phone, and then it will just answer and say it's 5 minutes and 30 seconds from landing, and pickup will start in 12 minutes. And otherwise, you can imagine a human trying to keep up with that. So, yeah, so I'll be off to...
Will they tell us when our baggage will be ready?
So, no one can predict that stuff. So, anyway, so your baggage should be out in 17 minutes, by the way. And if it's not out in 17 minutes, that's not the airport system, that's the airline. Anyway, so, and obviously you can imagine that that requires us to know a heck of a lot about our clients as well. But big data will be the thing that will change, because the computers will be able to understand the movements of each individual rather than looking at a whole sector of people. We'll be able to understand, we'll be marketing to people's individual patterns. And obviously that will take more and more time. So any time saving that we can have via machine learning will be very helpful.
Yeah.
And just to add to that, I guess the premise and the question here is the assumption that technology replaces people. Certainly in my sector, and certainly in my organisation, we use technology for that effectiveness component. Things like field data capture. So we send someone out into the field and they're collecting information on bandicoots and all sorts of things. Their ability to be able to capture that information live on the spot, not have to write it down, come back to the office, sit there and type it in, means that they've got more time for doing analytical work back in the office as opposed to data capture. So for us, there isn't a correlation between addition of technology and the reduction of people. In fact, in many cases, it's the opposite, where you add technology or create technology. And I'll go back to Microsoft. When you look back 25 years ago, before there was a Microsoft, and you look at it now, there's 130,000 people globally that work for Microsoft. That's 130,000 jobs that did not exist before that piece of technology came online. So I think we shouldn't be afraid that technology equals fewer jobs. In many cases, it might mean more.
Absolutely.
Sarah or John?
Yeah, sure. So in the vineyard side of it, to address this question, from a hospitality perspective, we're all about more people. So it doesn't matter what technology we bring in, whether it's the way people pay on credit card, that we can take a machine out to their table now and they can process that at their table, or we can take their order and that's sent straight through to the kitchen. A lot of that technology can come in, but the result is still hospitality. It needs to be face-to-face. You want to be greeted by someone who's going to walk out from behind the counter and have a great interactive experience with you, as opposed to I'm going to put my order in via a little computer over here and then someone is going to bring that out later, and taking people out of the equation. So from a hospitality perspective, we want to grow the number of people and professionals. I was in New Zealand having a look at some rail trails and hospitality experiences last year, and was just, I mean, New Zealand sets the benchmark for me on tourism and marketing, and I was just so disappointed at how many places we'd go into with young people on their phones. You'd go up to ask for a glass of wine and then, you know, hesitantly put their phone down to serve you. Then you'd actually have to get up from your table to go back and get a second one because they were still back on their phone. So for me, hospitality, we want to see a lot of that technology out of there so it becomes very much interactive. On the vineyard side, very, very different. We have 6.3 hectares of vines. It's all in lyre trellising, so very much hand pruned and hand picked. So next week when we start picking, we'll have 50 backpackers come in per day to pick our grapes. Is that cost effective for us? It makes the cost of wine in Tasmania and on these vineyards a lot higher because of the input costs. But we would love to mechanise and do a greenfields vineyard development where we can actually bring in all this new technology that would allow us to get rid of all the hand pruning and picking. So a machine would come in, it can do everything now from lift the wires, pluck the leaves, pick the fruit, prune the vines, do everything. So in that sense, a lot of where agriculture is heading towards, that can be mechanised, and that would certainly result in some of those losses of jobs. But on the other hand, hospitality, obviously we need a lot more skilled people.
Donna?
As a social enterprise, our job is to employ people with disabilities. So we look at technology as a mechanism to make our employees and support our employees to be more productive. So a recent example, we were thinking about buying a piece of timber equipment which would semi-automate one of the large timber manufacturing processes that we use. We did a very detailed cost-benefit analysis. I mean, we crunched the numbers for days, did all that work, presented it to the board because they had to make a decision based on the amount of money we wanted to spend. Their first question to me was, would this cost jobs? Because in fact, unlike a lot of other businesses, we're actually under pressure to employ more people and not employ less people. So the argument was, in fact, that the semi-automated process in this timber manufacturing yard did two things. It enabled us to increase productivity, so we could actually get the work out faster. If you can get the work out faster, you can bill for it faster, you can do more. If you get more money in, then the opportunities are to employ more people. And as our workforce ages, so the average age of our team in timber is 48, they get slower and their day is already short. So even just keeping up with customer demands in an increasingly competitive world, automation and semi-automation allows us to do that. But one of our litmus tests is actually, ironically, does this cost jobs? And if the answer is no, then it's a very difficult question for the board to deal with.